Welcome back to the Whole Topic Podcast. If you are new here, please subscribe, like, and do all the things that help push this video out. Um, I don't normally ask that, and I probably need to more, so I think I'm going to have to make something to remind people to subscribe here. So today, I am going to be talking about how I create my daily schedule as a homemaker to get more done in less time. And let's just be real, seasonally, we have definitely been in a season where there's so many irons in the fire and there's so many things to choose from that has to get done that it's definitely been more challenging to feel like I'm staying on top of things um, in many, many ways. So I'm going to just share with you how in a normal home, in a normal situation, how I make this work and go from start to finish, step by step, how to create a schedule that will at least help you pull out of any rut you might be in. So what I do is I start with my top most important things, my top three. I try to only keep to three because, of course, there's a million things we can do. Those things would entail things that just make me feel super pressured. For example, if the refrigerator might need to be cleaned that day, that's probably going to go on my list. And whether I'm the one that does it, or I have one of the kids work with me, or or a couple of the kids work together on it, it's going to go on there, and we're going to figure out how to make that happen. It could be wash all the sheets today. That can be a top three. It could be any number of things that you have to do that's important. For me, always in my top three is school. Like that is 100% has always been my top three is to make sure that right after breakfast, school gets done because I never want to miss out on that. I want to always feel ahead on that. So then I take those top three things that I've done and I think about in my mind, like, what is okay, besides school, because that's always going to get done. So that's always going to be my top three. What is the top thing that's most putting pressure on my mind to get done? Because we all know there's certain pet peeves in our house that we just know we want to get done that day. So then I pick that one. And depending, sometimes that project is so daunting, but you're like, it has to get done. In that case, I will take that project and I will figure out how to split it between multiple days. Because I found that when I try to do it all at once, I miss out on doing a lot of the other things in the house that probably needs more of my attention than that one huge project that's going to take a little bit. So, after you list all three of those things, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to list all the mundane tasks, like make breakfast, tidy the house, kitchen, sweep the floor, run the laundry, anything you think of that are mundane tasks that you just know you have to do every day. And then put those in on the list. I do have kind of a rule that I learned from someone else I follow. And they were saying that if you have to do it more than 2 times a week, put it on a permanent list. And so these mundane tasks are probably going to make it on a permanent list. And that way I don't have to sit down and write them out every single time, every single day that I'm trying to make my list, or every evening when I'm trying to work on my list. So then I have the mundane things. And then the final thing I really try to do is make sure that I have the menu for that day, because I have to feed, the 12 tribes of Israel here. So we have to make sure that our meals are always thought through. And if they're not, I do not enjoy fumbling meals, because then it's like, okay, so great, what are we going to make tonight? I want to be thinking ahead on that and what I have to have out. And honestly, to run smoothly, you do need to plan ahead a little bit. Otherwise, there's this quote that to live your life by design, not by default. And I do find that in a lot of homemakers, they're kind of just, my day's just dragging me around right now and I can't get anything. I don't know where to start. So it's important to get used to the idea that it is important to plan. Now, does that mean everything's going to go according to plan? Absolutely, and 100% and totally not. I can promise you that. Especially if you have little kids. Babies can always throw a wrench in things. but you've got to get to the point where you have a list of things that you want to get done, because if it's written down, now you have it in a permanent place. And there's some random statistic out there. I know that when you write it down, you're way more likely to do it than if you just have this list just sitting in your head, hoping that it will just happen. So once you get all of that on paper, the next thing you're going to do is time to organize it. Okay, so go back to your top three and decide which one are we doing today, or is this one I'm going to break up throughout this whole week. Like, and what I like to do is I like to do a 25-minute timer on that specific job. So if it's something I need to break up within 4-5 days, I'm going to spend 25 minutes on it. And if the kids can help me, they're going to jump right in and they're helping. We're going to work together and we're going to get it done. And then I will move on. And if it's something that I want to get done on that day and I think I can do it, and I don't want to be overwhelmed, then maybe I'll do 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break, and we'll come back and do another 25 minutes. Because when you break your day into incremental time slots like that, you focus so much better. Whereas if you're so sporadic and like, oh my gosh, like I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing right now, and I'm so distracted, and I saw a squirrel, and the baby's like, whatever. So it's just important to like really put some systems in place that help keep your attention. Now, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to think of the next most important task. All right. So as you know, on my top three, school's always at the top list. So I usually have a second one that's like something that I'm actually going to do towards the house, towards my business. It doesn't matter what it is. And I will put that down and I think of through my day, like, am I going shopping? Is that something I could even knock out today? Or is that something I should even think about right now? And then it either makes it there or it doesn't. And then I try, at the very least, try to spend 25 minutes on that. If it's a smaller job, then I just do it really quick and it's done. I don't think about it anymore. And then just I maintain the house. Like, so something that I do, I've followed a lot of organizing channels over the years, and a lot of them have this one thing they do is they do a routine at night where everyone gets up after the meal and everyone spends like 10 to 15 minutes cleaning the house. If you know me, my husband says this about me all the time. When the sun goes down, Andrea goes down. Like I'm done. I will sit down, I will read a book, I will hang out with the kids. We'll do whatever it is we're gonna do, but I'm done. Like I am one of those people at this point in my life that I get up at 4 a.m. every morning. It's dark, I'm done. After dinner, no more out of me. I'm done. So I came up with a system for my own house, and you might not like this system. So you do what works for you. Yours might be evening. So just people do it. It's you are you, and you have your own house. And the beauty of having your own house is you get to create the culture in your home. You get to create what works best. Oops. So I started after school, after I work in the afternoon for a little bit on my work. Usually while the baby's napping, around 3:30, everyone finishes what they're doing for the day. We all wrap up our stuff that we've been working on. Usually it's after quiet time. We all wrap everything up we've been working on. And that's when the time when all of the kids, myself, we all come in and we all clean the afternoon chores. We sweep all the floors. We mop if we have to. We do whatever list of chores is on that list. We do that all before dinner. So that way, after dinner, all we have to do is we have to get up, put the food away, clean up the kitchen, maybe sweep the floor one time, wash the dishes, and we're done. There's nothing else to think about in the house. So I have loved that because we all have energy. We're not discouraged after dinner. We're not full. We all have like energy. We're still kind of like in our day. So that is something that I feel like works way better, especially with a baby. Because you all know, having a baby after dark and after dinner, they want attention generally. And so I happen to be the person that baby wants. So that has just really helped because I still have the energy in the day and the kids do. So 3:30 in the afternoon is when we will do our reset the entire house for the next morning. Because I don't want to walk into the next day and feel like everything is cray cray. So, and just being intentional about it, like trying to see it through to your best. This doesn't mean you're going to get it perfect. So try to get that out of your mind, because and life is about finding, and family is about finding small rhythms and small habits that will, create more peace in your home. And I promise you, if you can find those small rhythms and habits that help you and that you can do easily and well, those are the things that are going to make the biggest long-term difference. Not necessarily being queen bee who queens everything, impeccably perfect. I think I said that word right. So just consider that. Have energy. So I guess one of the points there is your goal is just to have a reset time for the next day, the night before. So whether you do this in the evening or you do this, right before dinner, do what works for you, because you know how your family works. You know what's best for your family. Okay. This is number 10. I didn't really number them, but it's number 10. Finally, make sure you have a bedtime routine. This is really important to have in place for children, and honestly myself too. Like they love rhythm. Kids love rhythm. They like to know what's coming next. They like to just be prepared for it in their own little minds. It makes it so that everybody knows what's going to happen that evening. We generally go to bed around 8:30 or 9. We used to be super late owls, but because we get up so early now in the morning, we also need to go to bed early. So we go to bed around 8:30 or 9. And after dinner, people can eat, they can play for a while, and then at some point around 7:45 or 8, I'm like, all right, guys, time to get ready for bed. Have something in place that's a routine they can look forward to, that they know, okay, it's time for bed. Like this isn't, something mom's just being crazy about. And have a routine for yourself. If you do everything correctly, you should, giving yourself lots of grace if you miss something, because you can come back to it. You should be able to have, I don't know, an hour. I get an hour to an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours to myself in the afternoon. So does all the kids, to work on what's, like, whether it be my business or, and I'm still working, but it's just personal goals that I have. I've kind of set the house stuff aside. I'm going to come back to it after I finish my personal goals and stuff like that, or hobbies, whatever it is I'm doing. And the kids are off doing their thing. So it just makes it so that everybody just has rhythm, routine, and more time to do some stuff that is important to them, because everyone is unique. Everyone is going to have things that's important to them. And I always want to create that space for my kids to be creative. I find that when I run my day like this, it just makes for I feel so much more confident in the work that got done that day. Even if it's not perfect, I feel so much more confident in what the kids have done that day. Everything just seems to go way smoother. So I know that was a bit long-winded for how I create my day, or how I create a daily schedule as a homemaker. Most times I sit down and I write the stuff the night before if I need to, just so that, because I don't like to use my morning time to write the schedule. It's kind of like something I want to like digest the night before, so I can really think about what has to be done the next day. Do I have leftovers that can be eaten for dinner? Like, do I have to have meat pulled out? Just whatever it is. So that is my encouragement to you, to sit down and just kind of start taking notes on what your day can look like. So that's all I have. That's how I create my daily schedule as a homemaker to get more done in less time. Just remember, it's not about perfection. You will have things sometimes undone in the home. And like we talked about in one of the past podcasts, it's not always about a perfectly curated home that's like impeccably spotless all the time. You don't want to live in filth. You want to keep your house tidy and maintained, and ultimately you're teaching your kids how to deal with their own homes when they're older. So hope that was helpful as you guys take off and try to create your own schedule for your own home. I will see you next